Economists should not be held accountable. Politicians should. The trouble is not so much with economists themselves, but economic fashions with hegemonic modes of economic thinking. The economist Nassim Taleb has urged that the Nobel Prize in Economics should be done away with because of the enormous damage done by economic meta-narratives. Now, I personally do not think that the trouble is with the meta-narratives. Actually, large-scale theorizing is useful. It can shed light on the bigger picture when politics has become too short-sighted. But I agree that things like the Nobel Prize in Economics should be abandoned because they foster intellectual fashions which suffocate the diversity of thought. We need synergetic thinking, controversies, clashes of perspectives. Let me give you an example. Since the publication of my last book, in which I argue that poverty and generalized precarity rather than inequality are the scourge of our times, I have presented this argument in a number of publications in the mass media. And very often when social media picks up on my articles, they advertise my argument as inequality is bad for democracy. So exactly what I'm not saying. So strong is the intellectual fashion of the obsession with inequality. But see, thinking of social justice in terms of equality implies a logic of comparison between individuals. This stress on individual circumstances is typical for neoliberalism. It obscures the common, the public, society. Traditionally, socialism has been about the commons, not about equality. Marx speaks in very strong terms against the obsession with equality of wages in his Economic and Philosophical Manuscript from 1944. Solidarity is the socialist value, not equality. We can have a perfectly equal society as in the one in which I grew up. Well, not perfectly equal, but fairly equal. And this society might not be solidaristic, for instance, because of high levels of economic and political insecurity that make people hostile to each other, as was the case with Soviet-type societies, those of real existing socialism. But the neoliberal mindset has become so prevalent that it has also permeated the thinking on the left of self-appointed progressive thinkers. I call this phenomenon the paradox of emancipation. As we seek inclusion and equality within one model of well-being, we further validate that model of well-being, like the club in which we want to be a member, we validate. Together with all the injustices it might contain beyond inequality and exclusion. If we redistribute radically from rich to poor and equalize everyone's wealth, yes, we will deal with poverty, which is important, but this will neither help us have better healthcare, education, and culture, nor will it do much to safeguard the natural environment, the two grave concerns of our time, the commons and the ecosystem. So my appeal is to think beyond inequality and dig into the engine of our concern with inequality.